everyone. Welcome back to Confidence 24/7, where our purpose is to empower you to be bold and confident to own your day every day. It's your girl, Erica Heilig. I'm so excited for today. We're going to be talking about everything love, dating, self-confidence, all the things the girls want to know and probably too scared to ask. And for this conversation, I wanted to make sure that I brought on an expert, somebody who has receipts, a proven track record in love, and someone that we can trust to give us some insight and just share with us about it. So I'm just going to give a quick bio for our guest today. Super excited. She's a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur, and the founder of the Real Love Network. And I'm so excited to announce we have Coach Cass with us. Coach Cass, thank you again for coming.
Thanks for having me, Erica. I am honored to be on your podcast and talk about all the things. Nothing's off limits, girl. I got you.
I love that. I love that. I'm just honestly on a high from your event that we were at last month. A Wanted Woman Live. I was wanting to go so bad, but I was nervous. I think girlies were scared to talk about this. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to come out there. I'm going to support. And I left away feeling full. Like I learned so much and I saw my whole attitude and the way I looked at these topics differently. And it changed me. And I just want the be able to share this with more women and people online who are watching. So for those who may not know a lot about Wanted Woman Live yet, could you just share a little bit about your mission and your purpose of it and what really inspired you to start the network?
Okay, so Wanted Woman Live. Oh my goodness. So this is our signature event for the Wanted Woman movement. So wanted means women achieving new triumphs every day, right? So I believe you woke up like this. Okay, Erica, but I always wasn't there, right? So let me take it back to my real story. You want me to tell my real story, Erica? You want me to like glaze?
You can do it. No
Okay.
limits, like you said. It's all
Okay.
right.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, so once upon a time, I was dating a guy that I thought was the one. Ooh, girl. So we traveled together, we did business together. I just knew that I knew that this was the one for me. And one Christmas Eve, I got a call from a mutual friend. I'm like, "Oh, Merry Christmas." He's like, "Yeah, that's not why I'm calling." I said, "What's up?" He said, "Are you sitting?" I said, what's going on?" He said, he's married. Uh, my heart shattered, Erica. I was just like, no. I don't know if you ever got bad news where you felt like the bottom fell out. I was in such a sunken,
Hmm.
it was rough. Okay. And so the thing is that I kept dating like the wrong guy after the wrong guy. I walked away from that relationship, the good Christian woman that I am, right? And I was just like, okay, I'll just keep dating, right? So I kept dating the wrong guy after the wrong guy. And I was like, wait, something's got to give. My defining moment happened when I got maybe my 29th wedding invitation. I said, wait a second. Is everybody getting married? Like, I'm cute, you're cute. Like, why is it working? Why is it just working for me, girl? Right. So it's like, no matter the age, the stage, the race, the weight. Listen, Toothless Willie got married. I said, okay, something's got to give here. So that's when I realized that I didn't really learn about relationships growing up. I didn't, like maybe through osmosis, but there was no real hardcore sit down lessons taught to me about how to do this thing called romantic relationships. And that's no fault to my parents. My parents are from Jamaica, like the backwoods of Jamaica. Like, listen, you do what you need to do. Okay.
The Island Girl.
Yes. Right. So I definitely decided to become a student of love. I read almost every book I could on love, almost 100 books. I interviewed couples who had been married for over 25 years, but still liked each other, right? Because a lot of couples, I don't know, your parents are amazing, but it's just like outside of them, there's a lot of grumpy married folk out there. And I was like, y'all folks are not selling this at all. So I also interviewed successful women who are successful in business and in love because a part of me felt like you could
Mm.
do both of them at the same time, right? My mom always said, study your book. But what I realized is that the more I didn't take some time out to focus on love, the less it came around, right? I was just like, wait a second. And after I attracted my amazing husband, Andy, whom you've met, I've started to realize that so many women either settle in these horrible situationships just to have somebody, or they're like, it's gonna come one day. Let me just focus on everything else and it'll come, but it ain't coming. Or they're like praying in their back closet for their Boaz. But sis, even Ruth was out in the field. Hello, she was doing the work. So this is what really started the movement for me to support women in their love journey, because I realized that love is something that could be really lonely. And a lot of times it's like the blind leading the blind. You're watching rom-coms and reality TV trying to glean, and it really doesn't work like that. There's true methods to the madness of love, and a huge part of it is right in here. So the event, Wanted Woman Live, came from my community. So I have the Real Love Network where I support women on a monthly basis throughout the year, right? We have coaches, mindset, grief, trauma. We have amazing team that pours into our women month after month, year after year, to help them get like their love CEUs. Like when you're in college and then you graduate, like you get classes to get better in business or what you think your career is going to make money, but then what about your love life? I really believe that it's important to continuously learn how to be a better person on the inside so that you could show up differently in all of your relationships. So we do that. And so Once a Woman Live was a demand from my community to say, we need something to get together every single year, Coach Cass, kind of like a reset. And we want it in the fall because in the summer, they're in between hot girl summer and lukewarm summer. Right. So after the summer of traveling and trips, you're just like, okay, wait, it's about to get cold. How do I not make bad decisions heading into the cold time? Because that's what happens a lot of the time. Okay, Erica, like
Mm.
you will do, you could keep me warm in the winter. Like ladies, you are not bears, right? So we get a blanket, get a warming blanket. Do not make bad decisions, right? So Once a Woman
I'm
Live
coming.
helps
I'm
women
coming.
make really good decisions heading into the new year. And women who are single, dating, or married attend this event really as a reset. So this past event, we had someone talking about menopause and perimenopause, things that we don't really talk about. I've been going to the OB for decades, and she never brought up menopause or perimenopause, hormones, none of that stuff. We had our trauma therapist talk about how our hurts live in our body and then affect us in terms of cancer and everything else. We had a woman that has been having sleepless nights for almost her entire life and did not realize that it was in reaction to the trauma she had been through. We had our mindset coach talk about the hustle culture. We're always on the grind, but what does that soft life, that ease look like? And I spoke about that chaos versus peace, and how as professional women too often we choose chaos over peace, and how
Mm.
you start to choose peace in your life. Like the ladies who left that event said exactly what you said. It was life changing. They are showing up differently in their businesses, their careers, their love lives, their friendships. It's just been amazing. And so I continuously do it, even though it is so much work. Hallelujah. Come on, sponsorship. So, we do so much work for it because I see their faces, I see their hearts, and we just have a really good time. Like I smile the most that I do in my life at our events. Like we travel throughout the year. We're going to Morocco, we're going to Cartagena. Like we create experiences in our community that uplift women and men. We even have a married couples retreat. So we definitely do things to foster love, because at the end of the day, what I believe is that if we work on these things, the actual divorce rate will decrease, and I want our families to be strengthened. And when your families are strengthened, wealth is strengthened, our world is better. Yeah. So
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Man, I had a whole little therapy just in all of that. More things to keep up here. But yeah, just talking to my friends because Coach Cass, I'm single, I want to date, and I learned a lot from your event. But there's just some questions when me and my girlfriends we get together. There's things that they wanted to know, and I try to give the advice and things like that. But I say, you know what? Let's write these questions down. So I'm gonna ask Coach Cass so we can put this to rest. Okay, it's not just me. You get an expert with receipts. So a lot of them, and you talked a little bit about it, about settling in love. What's the biggest, you think, misconception that professional women have about finding love? You touched on a couple good points, but anything you think specific,
now,
that you could share?
is it professional women or is it also my college women? What are we talking about here?
We can do both.
Okay.
I think because for me, I have some friends who are still in college, and some of them who've graduated are kind of like in the space of me,
Okay.
developing your career, a little bit of both.
Okay. All right. So when we talk about the college woman, what does settling look like? So once upon a time, I was dating a guy in college, and he would say, "Hey, I really need to pass this test." And the night before his test, he'd be hanging out with his frat brothers and sorors instead of reviewing the flashcards that I made him. Hallelujah. And so it came to a point that I was just like, can't do this, right?
Mm.
There is a man that says he has a goal, but where is the evidence of him working towards that goal? It's like this ain't gonna work. And so I believe in college settling is you creating flashcards, you doing the work for the man, you reminding the man of what he needs to do. This is what settling looks like in college. We're not doing this. We need a young man that is intrinsically, internally motivated to do what he needs to get done. And he shows you who he is. Yes, you could find an amazing husband in college, but understand that I need you to observe who he is as an individual first. Don't romanticize. Hmm love. That's what happens so often. You see these college sweethearts get together and then they grew apart. And it's just like, nah, you didn't pay attention to who you were who you were, right? Like who you
Mm.
are. Yes, you grow together or you may grow, but it's just like you still you weren't paying attention. So I need my young ladies to pay attention to who this man is. Now, how does this differ from our professional women out in the world working? It doesn't. It doesn't. So instead of flashcards, now he has a presentation or he has a job interview or what does he do after work, right? So the young man that comes home on the couch and plays video games for 5 hours without looking up or eating is not your husband.
Mm-mm.
No, this is not what we're choosing for our lives, okay? Because what does that mean? Where is his responsibility? What does his home look like? Now, mind you, a lot of young men have issues with cleaning, but this is why I say cleaning ladies save lives. So we won't discount him for his messiness and grossness because I think boys to men, right, are just gross. Not the singing group, but I'm talking about just in general. I think men are gross. So for the most part. So this is why cleaning ladies save lives. So as a professional woman, as you get your budget together, just start to include the cleaning lady. So she was there before he was. You see what I'm saying? So that
Hmm.
as you move into the married life, it's like, oh no, my cleaning lady is coming with me. Okay, because she was here. Okay, she was here. This is togetherness, and I'm telling you, it is a big thing. Like right now in my marriage, one of the points of contention is the hair in the shower trap. Right? I don't I
Mm.
don't want to clean that, Erica. I don't want to clean that. So you know what I did? I showed the cleaning lady how to clean that. So then my husband is happy because it's clean. It ain't gotta be me,
Mm.
right? Hello, it ain't gotta be me. But that's a whole nother thing. So
Yeah.
when it comes to settling in a professional woman, it really comes down to looking at a man and does the man have vision and does he have action behind the vision? Because if it's just vision alone with no action, he's a daydreamer. Okay?
Mm.
Daydreams don't come true. Okay? They just have you sitting on the couch looking in the sky. That we don't want that for
Like
our
this.
yeah, exactly. This is what I'd like for my life. Okay, so when you gonna get up off the couch and do something about it? And you don't
Yeah.
become his mother, right? So if you find yourself consistently mothering, this is not the person for you. And you have that choice now. You see, what I love about working with my single women is you have the choice now to choose who you want to spend your life with. And I always say, choose wisely.
I love that. See, look, y'all got it from the expert herself. So you see, this is something we've talked about. Me and my girlies, we've been talking like sometimes it's like, oh, you're what's the word? You're compromising or you're settling. But like you mentioned, there's certain things that in a relationship, maybe they're not deal breakers. You can work with that. So what you're saying is there can be a difference between settling and then compromising for something that could work, something that's healthy.
Yeah, so it's deal breakers versus preferences, right? So it's like your
Mm.
standards versus your preferences. So preference, I'd love a man 6'5", chiseled abs, making 7 million, like preferences.
Reading all the minds.
Right. Preferences. Standards.
Hmm.
Your standards. I like someone of the same faith that honors God the way that I do. Standards. I
Hmm.
love someone that knows how to treat people well, treat me well. Standards. A person that has a vision and takes action. Standards. Someone who cherishes me and listens and hears my heart and honors that. Standards. Right. So preferences are all these superficial things. I really feel sad for the short men, Erica. They
Hmm.
they have like it's like they have the worst luck because somehow media has made height sexy. You
Mm,
know,
that's so true.
it's like, you always have to look up into the man's eyes and darling, right? So if you look down into the man's eyes, all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I can't marry the hobbit. I can't be with a leprechaun. You know what I mean? And I just feel so sad for my shorter men. Even ladies who are 5'1" are looking for a man who's 6'10". And I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense, right? So we have to look at what is truly important in our heart of hearts. I needed a man who I knew was of his word, right? If he says he was going to do something, he was going to do it. I needed a man that showed responsibility. I needed a man that honored his mother and honored the people around him, no matter their status in life. Because as a Christian woman who has also seen the world, like it's a thin line between being here in life and being here in life, right? Like you could be prostrate on the floor praying, crying, like, God, what's going on? To living on top of the world, right? Like you just on top of the world. And in a split second, everything can be taken away. So who is that man in those times? In the top of the world moments and in the prostrate moments, who is he? Is he the same evermore? And so those were some of the things that I had to really look at to say, okay, well, this is a wonderful candidate to be my husband. But over time, also what I see with this rom-com and this reality TV show culture, because I've been interviewed several times to be host on Bravo, HGTV,
Wow.
OWN. Like I have been a finalist, MTV. I've been a finalist to be a host on a show, Netflix,
Wow.
several times. And like when I look at the premise of the shows, it's just like they didn't align, right? So it's like, hey, meet somebody today, get married by week 3, day 10. Like, what are we talking about right now? Like, what's
Mm.
happening? Right? Like, no. And you see the majority of these reality TV show marriages fall absolutely apart because they're not basing their relationship on anything but chemistry. It's so much more than chemistry. Yes, chemistry is important, but that will not lead you through health issues, financial issues, communication issues. Like you need more than chemistry for a relationship to have a solid foundation.
Wow. Yeah, and that's huge. I feel like, to speak of some of my friends, I've been listening to relationships. I'm like, how long have you known the guy? Do you feel comfortable with him? And 9 times out of 10, I've heard some of my friends like, oh, he's cute. He took me to a date. What else? Well, I'll just be honest. This one girl, I was asking my girlfriends, I've been asking, hook me up with someone. So this girl, she hooked me up with this guy. We went on a date. And I was just like, I ain't really feeling him. And she said, Erica, what else do you want? He got a job in the house. What else? What else do you need? And I was just like, excuse me. I need a lot more. We need to be the same faith. We know like a lot of those things that you mentioned. So and like you said, I do feel like in the media they do portray this like, oh my God, this handsome man walks in the room and that's it. But you're right, we need more because you need someone you can think of long term and sustain and really connect. And I'm glad we brought that up because there was another question and you touched on it earlier. Um, Confidence and self-love. I feel like if we are able to grow in that, it will be help us a lot in our decisions, picking the right people.
Yeah.
So how does self-love play a role in this? And how can women begin to develop that, even if they're single, you
Ooh.
know?
So what's really cool, right, Erica? I have a episode about to drop on my YouTube of me interviewing one of my brides from this past year. And the biggest thing she shared that she got from the Real Love Network was how to take care of herself. And this is a woman who is over 50, who
Wow.
is vice president of marketing of a healthcare company, right? This is a woman who has lived life, multiple degrees, who still struggled in self-love and self-care. And it wasn't until she truly solidified that she was able to really connect with her husband. She's been married for a month and she's absolutely enjoying it. So I think that self-care and self-love is an essential part to having a successful relationship, not only with yourself, but with others and a romantic partner, husband, because when we don't take care of ourselves, we're crabby. We are ugly. We're nasty. We snap. It's like the new puppy I just got. He's pretty nippy, right? He's learning his teeth and, he feels a lot with his teeth and he's always nipping at something and it could be scary. So here's the problem. The problem is that so many women are looking for a man to take care of us. This hypergamy type of culture, this, how do you get a man with money? You're looking for somebody else to take care of you. And I'll tell you, no one will take care of you as good as you will, right? And
Mm.
you teach someone how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. So if you have a standard of how you treat yourself, no one can come below that. But if we have no standard, this is how we just end up with anything and anybody and crying ourselves into our pillows at night. The relationship that you desire starts with you. So that looks like taking yourself on self dates. That looks like daily devotion. That looks like meditation. That looks like stretching, exercise, eating healthy, right? I had the joy of being featured on a news special, and the person that came right after me was a man named Dan Buettner. And Dan studied the blue zones. So the blue zones are the places in the world where majority of the people live over 100 years old. So they have the most centurions. And so he went to each spot and learned, what do these people eat? Like what is their diets consist of? And what he realized is that the average American eats about 200 pounds of meat in their lifetime, which is like a bathtub full of dead
Wow.
carcasses. That's what he said it was, right? And then the average person that lives to over 100, they eat 20 pounds of meat in their lifetime. So what does that mean? They eat on special occasions, on a Sunday, things of that sort, but they mainly have a plant-based diet. And he said that this plant-based diet has helped them eternally to be able to live longer. He said the family that had the eldest people in their family, so they had about 9 people in their family and everybody was over 89. He said, well, what do y'all eat? Oh, they ate minestrone soup, right? Which is just like a hodgepodge of beans and noodles. Um, and so what he did is like he said that pretty much we have made meat taste good, but not plants. So it's really
Mm.
being able to look at our diets and how do we feel? Because like I said, at Wanted Women Live and in our program, we have a trauma therapist that helps women to realize, like, hey, some of the reasons why you don't feel good is because of the trauma you've experienced that you've never dealt with. And now it lives in your body and it shows up as an ulcer or as cancer or as skin irritations or breakouts or dry mouth or eyes or, sleepless nights or constant urination. Like so many things deal with what we've been through. So if we don't take the time to heal, if we don't take the time to work on ourselves, like we show up broken with pieces and patches held together by glue, that if you just go, we fall apart. And what
Mm.
good is that in a relationship? It's just not. It's not and isn't.
Wow, exactly. We can't just go to pieces. That's actually something I was, talking to my mom about the other day. She's like, get to the point where you feel comfortable if something doesn't go wrong. And let's say you go on a date and it goes wrong, because you mentioned that we were at your event. Sometimes it's not going to go right. You never know, but you have to be okay to know that you can try again. You mentioned that, and that's something that stuck with me. And to not fall to pieces, because, like you said, with self-love, when we're loving ourselves, we're not going to take it personally. But sometimes we'll have to realize it's just that other person, and that's okay. And I really love that you mentioned that. Let's see. I had something that the girlies were asking. Let's see. Ooh, you did, mention this earlier. This is something I hear all the time. I know sometimes the single women were like, okay, we hear this all the time. But do you believe in the saying, it happens when you least expect it? Do you believe in that? What's your thought?
Ah, it happens when you least expect it. See, so it can, right? There are plenty of stories where people were like waltzing through life and they touched the same apple. Well, I don't know about that story, but it's just like it does happen for some people like that, but not everyone, right? And even if they say that, I don't know if they least expected it. So, what I work with women on being is open. Now, could you unexpectedly meet someone online and unexpectedly meet someone while passing or at a restaurant or in a parking lot or at a festival? Yeah. So, essentially, that is when you least expect it because you might have thought you were going to meet him on a pew. Like women make up a lot of stories of how they'll meet their husband. Oh, I know. I'll be wearing this dress, walking through this place, and this is when he's going to whisk me off my feet. And so it happens when you least expect it because you were sitting at the car wash next to him on a bench. Yeah, so yeah, that can happen. But at the end of the day, when you meet him, the question is, are you open to love? Do you know how to have conversations outside of just work? Are you a fun person to be around? Can you really make a relationship last, or do they consistently end at the second date or the 2 month mark? Right? Are you absolutely miserable? So it's not just meeting the guy, but it's like, how do you flourish a relationship once you meet someone that you really dig and that you're into? Like, there's so many layers to this, Erica. Like, you don't even, it's so much more.
Peeling the onion.
Yeah, it's so much more than just getting the guy. People can get in a relationship every single day and then they can exit it every single day just because of their own stuff. I'll tell you, I have a client that, found something that made her very distraught about the man that she was dating. And I said, well, let's ease into it because at the end of the day, it may not even be him. So the real question is, do you want to be in a relationship with this person? Right? Because if you don't, blow it
Mm.
all up, right? Like if you're looking for an excuse to blow it up, go ahead and blow it up, girl, if this ain't it. I want you to realize that you choose, right? So it's not just in results of something. Do you want this relationship to last outside of this? Yes. Okay. So then there's a delicacy to how we approach sensitive conversations when you're telling someone about themselves. How do you speak to someone with truth, but with love at the same time? So there's so many layers to how we make this work. So it happens when you least expect it. I'm going to say, yeah, I could rock with that because most of the time, where you expect it to happen, it won't. But at the end of the day,
Mm.
are you really ready for the relationship that's coming to you?
That's some solid. That's very solid. I feel that. So for for women, for us, I think it's best, like you said, continue with the self-love and be open to it, however it happens, and not like because I can admit there's sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna go to this place and he'll be here. I've done that. I can raise a hand. I can be that's me. But I guess the way we need to approach is being open because it can happen anytime, any day, any type of way, and just to be open to it. Um, let's see. Ooh, this brings me to my next point. What boundaries do you think we should have when starting dating? Because we know we've mentioned, hey, we can't just go on day one, like it's gonna be my husband, or just be all willy-nilly. What are some boundaries that you think we need to have when dating? And maybe two, what amount of time? Because I know it varies, but how long do you think it would take to feel comfortable or have a good feeling for this person where you're going?
Okay, so boundaries, we talk about that a lot, right? I'm actually doing a boundaries retreat in January, right? And
Ooh.
so I find that women struggle with boundaries a lot. And the reason why is a part of you has been taught in order to keep a man, I need to do blank. And I would say that that's all wrong. And a lot of us have been taught to be seen and not heard. So we don't have a voice in many situations from work to family to friends, and so it just spills over into our romantic relationships where we don't speak up. So boundaries, what does boundaries look like? It really is honoring what you want. And if you're saying, Coach Cass, I want to be married. I want to be married to a man that honors me. So then you have to be a respectable woman from the beginning. What does that mean? He's reaching for your thigh on the first date. oh, I'm sorry, I take things a little bit slower, right? And you gently his
Mm.
hand, right? A man's gonna try what a man's gonna try, but at the end of the day, it is up to you to set the boundary of where this thing goes, right? And sleeping with a man on night one does not lead to marriage. Now, yes, there are outliers. Somebody's always gonna say, "Oh, well, my one girlfriend." Yeah, your one girlfriend, but overarching statistically,
Hmm.
no, ma'am. Like, slow that bus all the way down. If you're looking for a lifetime love, life
Hmm.
takes time. Andy and I didn't share our first kiss until like our first month after dating, right? And for
Wow.
many people, that's unheard of because by date one and a half, you're like, right? And I'm just,
You're like, oh, I like him. It's enough.
yeah. Like we move too quickly. My thought is if I'm seeking to be with a lifetime love, what is the rush? Why are we rushing into situationships or physical situations? My pastor once told me, never get with a man for something you could pay for. And girl, you could pay for just about everything, right? So when you think
Hmm.
about it, it's just like, do you have a true intimate connection in terms of how you see each other? Right? Intimate, you see. So intimacy, right? Too often we equate intimacy with sex. Like that's the last thing, right? Because I tell you that as you get older and the hormones and the kids or the stress and the finances, you may or may not feel like being physically intimate. And you don't want to feel like your husband's going to leave you because
Hmm.
your hormones or your stress levels or your health is out of whack, right? So you never want to base a relationship on sex. Like, yes, it can be a part of the equation, but you don't want it to be the base. And what I find too often is that women enter sexual situations before emotionally connecting with someone, and they wonder why they can't speak. They can't connect. They don't feel honored. They feel like a prostitute, right? It's just like
Hmm.
that is not the relationship that you desire. And when you really wait, right? Like I believe that women nowadays should wait until marriage. But this new age stuff, some people like, oh, Coach Cass, I got to kick the tires. I understand you want to kick tires, but a man is not tires. And you could teach a man that you love how to love you properly, right? How to please you. There's so many ways, right? So really and truly, do you even like this person? We are moving too fast in this thing. And there are too many diseases like HPV that is unseen in men that you can catch at a drop of a dime that then leads to cervical cancer and you could end up with problems or death. Like there's just too many things out here that can end your life based on a 5 minute naked situation, right? So the
Hmm.
average act of sex is 5 minutes. So when you look back at your life and you say, wow, 5 minutes messed up my whole life, I need you to be very sure that this is your person. Or you could get pregnant depending on your age. So is this someone you can share a child with? Because there is always a chance, no matter how much protection you have, there's always a chance if you are in childbearing age that you can end up being a baby mama, right? So if
Mm.
you don't want to be a baby mama, how about you don't do things to have babies with people you don't really like? Right. So we have to really look at this like, who is this man? So the boundary is until I really know you, we have to set some boundaries of how far we go with things intimately because I don't know you like that. I don't know your people. I don't know your mental health status. I don't know what you've been doing with your life. I don't know your plan or your progress. Like you have to set boundaries. And then on the other side, I forgot the other question that you were
Okay, you
asking me.
touched on all of them. I mean, you shared a lot. That's okay. But you see, this is great. I'm glad to hear this because I feel like women, even, for me, I'll be honest, like I've been waiting. I haven't had sex yet. I've been waiting. I've been like, God, when you bring the, yeah, we can be, it's okay to say that, right? Because sometimes I feel like with society, it can be embarrassing. I've been in college and people are like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you drugs? Why aren't you sleeping around? People would tell me I'm crazy. And I'd be like, hold up. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm glad to hear it. I think it's encouraging for the women out there who are, waiting and trying to, do it quote unquote the right way. So, it lets me know that, hey, it's okay to be like, look, I want to slow this down. There's a lot more involved in it and just than just that moment. So I'm glad, hey, we could debunk that, ladies. You don't have to sleep with a man to get him. You could take your time. You can get to know him. Hey, he can walk you to the door, give you a kiss. That's it. Like, Take your time. So
My
I'm glad
husband,
that you helped me debunk that.
my
So,
husband waited, my husband waited 3 years, Erica. 3 years.
wow.
Our wedding night was our first time together. I was not a virgin, but one thing that we had committed to each other is that we would do things differently. And he waited 3 years. Okay. 3 years. All right. So it
Wow.
is able to happen. You just have to be very vigilant. And you have to, like don't put yourself in situations where things can happen. So this Netflix and chill, let me chill on your couch at your house or in your bed, like it, right? So you have to be very conscious. And I feel also that, we got to take it old school with dating. Right now, what dating looks like for many people is me and you alone, always. And then we announce to the family that we're engaged. What is that? Right? And how many times have family members picked out or seen things about a man that someone was dating that she didn't see at all? It's just like, oh, or they get married, it's like, oh, and then they get divorced and they're like, see, I knew he was garbage. I knew this was
I knew
dedicated.
he was
It's
crap.
like, why didn't you say something? Well, girl, you already made your decision when you came to me. Right. So my problem is that we need to remember who our board of directors are in our dating process. And these are people to help you vet who your person is. These are people that you trust and you respect and on a level have been successful in the ways that you desire to be successful in. And in your board of directors, like these are the people. It's not everybody, right? There's the audience and there's like your VIP roles. So your three VIPs, like who are those people? And you involve those people in your dating process, right? Like I remember when Andy and I were dating, Andy's mom would have a barbecue for 4th of July every single year, right? And every single year, 4th of July, this barbecue would happen. She would have all these people. And I invited like 10 of my family members to the barbecue.
Wow.
People, Andy was like, why are all your people here? I was like, listen, I don't want our wedding to be the first time my people meet your people. You see what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like dating and building a family to me needs to be cohesive, right? So it's not like, oh, dating and then now we're engaged, now we're married, now we build the family. No, 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 no. Like involve your people from the beginning. Our second date was my stepmom's birthday party. And everybody was like, who is this? I was like, oh, he's just a friend. Like, ain't nothing, right? He's just a friend. Like brought him around like nothing. My problem is that when family makes bringing a guy around like the epitome of, oh, this is your husband, it's just like, no, 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 no. This is my friend. Everybody get to know my friend. I might have another friend come by next week. It's just like we got friends. I'm not sleeping with all these people. Like I'm not intimate with nobody.
mhm,
I'm just bringing people around that I'm spending time with, and so it just makes it normal. To me, dating is too romantic. Like, oh, you expect at the
mhm.
end of the date, the roses equals this and the rose petals equal that and da 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 da. It's just like we move too fast. We got to take our time and involve people in the process so that now when you get married, I'll tell you my wedding, and you could look this on YouTube, like I think it's like Coach Cass, Andy, Mexico wedding, something like that, right?
Mm,
And we had 80 of our closest friends and family join us in Mexico, and they had the time of their lives. One, because a lot of them had already met before, right? But like
mm.
at the wedding, it became like a family reunion to where after the wedding, anytime we had a get together at our condo, like people were excited to come because they were going to see so and so that they met at the wedding. Like the baby shower, babysitting, like it's just been a beautiful process because we involved them from the beginning. So then people want to come around, they want to be a part. The wedding wasn't just a 5-hour event where they, sat at different tables and went home, So for me, it's like if you want to build a life that's filled with love and joy and the people that you love, like you have to think about that through the dating process.
Wow, I love that. Exactly. I do like that because everyone is, at least what I've seen now, they just pop out, with the ring. I've seen that a lot. I'm seeing a lot of girls. I'm like, I didn't even know you were dating. Like, what happened there? And I'm very happy for them, but I do love that involving people in there to give you wise counsel. So it's not just like, hey, he's here. What? So you can kind of vet and get those red flags. So I absolutely love that. Those are some things that I'm gonna take away, and I hope our viewers take away. This is such an amazing conversation. I feel like we could talk about this for hours. but we're gonna have to wrap it up. Hopefully, do a part two or something because this is really good stuff. If there is one thing that our viewers could take away from this conversation, they heard nothing else. What would that one thing be? What would you say to them?
The one thing I would say is really figure out what you value and only align yourself with people who are in alignment, right? Like the reason why you had so many problems with your ex is more than likely your core values gave you a rub. Y'all were
Hmm.
not happy. So at the end of the day, you have to figure out what your core values are and only align yourself with the individuals that are in alignment with them. That's it.
I love that. Not Mr. Potential, could be. It's got to be okay. 5 out of 5. And I totally agree with that. But before we go, I did just wanna, cause shout you out. Coach Cass's book, Wanted Woman. I remember we met up in Orlando when you had your meetup. I got this copy of this book and it's amazing. I want all of the viewers, if you guys don't have one, grab a copy now. Go to Wanted Woman Live. Is there anything that you want to shout out on your socials or places people can go to stay connected with you?
Yeah, so they could buy the book on Amazon, right? So it's right there on Amazon, 2 day ship, right? So Wanted Woman, how to really attract and keep a love that lasts. So really my socials is at Inspire Many on Instagram, on YouTube. You could just look up Coach Cass and find me. And yeah, everything wantedwoman.com. So wantedwoman.com is my website where you can find out about our trips, our experiences, Wanted Woman Live, and our boundaries retreat that we have coming up. Mhm.
Well, that's exciting. Thank you again, Coach Cass, for going on. And ladies, remember, you are the prize, and I hope you took something away from this. Thank you again, Coach Cass, for coming. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Erica. Until next time, ladies, keep
Yes,
loving,
ma'am.
keep laughing, keep living. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode of Confidence 24/7, our special edition with Coach Cass. Here's her book, Wanted Woman Live. I want all the girlies to check this out. It's a great book. It's going to give you a lot of insight and dive in a little more deeper into some topics that we discussed today with Coach Cass. So go ahead and follow her, Wanted Woman, and live. You can search her up online and also subscribe to the YouTube channel or the podcast, wherever you're seeing this from. And have a great day. Thank you guys.